talk about management leadership. One of the topics in regards to remedies. Here, we're told that management provides a vision, leadership, and resources needed to implement an effective safety and health program. Yes, management has to set the pace. Management has to set the pace. The employees need to understand that management has a vision for safety. Safety of the employees, safety of equipment. Because if the equipment are destroyed, then management will also run a very huge loss. So not just employees in this case. So management needs to ensure that there is a vision, leadership, and resources in their provision of resources needed to ensure that safety in an organization is maintained. Next slide. All right. So management focus areas should be this: people, programs, equipment, organization, that is proper arrangements, ensuring that everything is in place. There are some organizations you walk into, you understand that they know what safety is all about. Okay, you find a safety system in place. All right, and then work environment should be conducive, and processes should be well defined. Well defined is saying that proper risk assessment is conducted, hazard analysis is conducted, and then there is a safe operating procedure for work to guarantee the safety of workers. Actions to be taken by management. Number one is define program goals. And what do you do when you talk about defining program goals? Number one is specific goals create periodic or timely expectations. When you have a goal, it means that you have a timely expectation of what you want to achieve in a specific time. That's what it does. And second, talks about objectives focus on specific safety actions. What are those safety actions required of the workers, of people who are supposed to carry out their duties? Okay, what do you expect of them? Because objectives are doing, specific activities to be carried out. If you don't have an objective, then you're not expecting anything safety-wise. Number two says allocate resources. So you must make provision of equipment, training, information, safety data sheets, injuries from illness data, checklist, baseline data. When the baseline data that has to do with current standards in that area of safety, and then regulations on safety and health experts. You have to provide all of this if you want to experience safety in your organization. And the third is expect performance. How do you get that? Establishes clear roles and responsibilities. You must, make people responsible. Yes, you must make people responsible. When people are not responsible, then it means that you shouldn't expect accountability. Okay? So you must have safety officers, okay, who are there to ensure that safety, is adhered to. Establish promotions, awards, rewards, and recognition. This is one of the ways you encourage people in the organization. Okay, if there are some persons who have been keeping the safety rules and standards, how do you encourage them to keep on? How do you encourage them to keep doing what they're doing? Is to recognize them, give awards. Hello? In some organizations, they have safety ambassadors. When you're made a safety ambassador, you wouldn't want to do anything contrary to that. Hello? When you're giving awards or rewards, you want to maintain it. So these are the ways that management can achieve safety. All right. So how does an employee buy-in? This is where we'll talk about integration. Most employers don't understand that until you make employees to feel belonging, then you can't get the best out of the employees. So employee buy-in is one of the ways to go. Okay, and Article 19C of the ILO Convention 155 of 1981 actually talks about this. Representative workers in an undertaking are given adequate information on measures taken by the employer to secure occupational safety and health. So employee buy-in is the way to go. What's employee buy-in? Employee buy-in is when employees are committed to the mission and goals of the company and or also find the day-to-day work personally resonant. That is, mindful. That is when employees now begin to feel that it is their duty to do this. Hello? And feeling that it's their duty to do this it's not going to be they're not going to be under compulsion. They're not seeing it as a necessity. Why? Because just like as I said from the beginning, this is a contract. And when the parties involved in the contract are feeling belonging, then they don't need the other party to push them to do what they're supposed to do. And that's why employee buy-in is very important, when we talk about safety. Let's go. All right. So what do? Recognitions and awards, like I said before. Do it like some organizations do have what's called safety week. When you have a safety week, it's the time you remind your workers about the need for safety, and then you can give awards during that time. Okay? Recognize some persons at that, during that time. You have questionnaires. This is where you make provision for questions. You ask questions to your employees about the conditions of work. What are they going through? You need to know it. You need to make them understand that you have their interest at heart. You understand that? So questionnaires would help for you to be able to know what they're going through so that you can deal with that. They have discussions and feedback. Communication. There must be correspondence. You must not, make the workers feel that they can't reach management. No. You must create such a system that will allow workers to be able to reach management with their concerns or their complaints. Suggestion box is another way to go, where workers can go and just suggest what they feel, because workers are involved in this deal. And so they have something to contribute as long as safety is concerned. So how can they do that if management is not giving the room for that? You can use safety features as well. In fact, this is one of the ways you can expressly, make workers to see the need to, keep to safety. You can imagine a case where you play a video where somebody fell from a height because of carelessness or recklessness, and the worker sees it. Who does such kind of work? The worker wouldn't need someone to tell him or her further to what? To be careful when what? Working, or to follow the safety procedures and standards. So you can bring this, like some organizations do have it. Okay? They even have consistent videos they play that workers can always see from time to time that will help them to know how to take precautions. Alright, how to promote safety in your workplace continues. You have safety week, you have training, you have attending to employees' complaints, you have posters. You can find places in your within your company environment where you can put posters that can help workers to get in tune with safety issues. Why employee involvement? Room for workers' expression of their commitment to safety and health. Okay? Which means there should be room for meetings where we can talk about safety issues, where we can talk about challenges, conditions that tend to affect workers negatively. So workers can express themselves. Persons most in contact with potential safety and health hazards. In most organizations, some workers could be more, exposed to hazards than others. So those workers would be able to do what? To express themselves or to lay their complaints. Utilizes everyone's wide range of experience. Like I said, workers are involved in the deal. You need their resource, you need their capital, you need their experience, you need their knowledge. So if you make such provision, then you see that workers will be able, to share their own experience that will help the organization to move forward, safety-wise. All right. So here we talk about safety excellence. It's culture-based. If you want to achieve safety excellence in your organization, you must go beyond having policies on paper to building a culture. Hello? You must go beyond having what? Policies on paper. Like, you'll agree with that. I think all organizations here should have policies. True or false? True. But why is it not working? Because there is no culture. Culture is a lifestyle. Culture is an atmosphere that determines what happens in the place. It's like if you travel to go visit the people, and when you get there, you discover that they behave in a certain way. You don't need someone to tell you to start to behave that way. You understand? Because you need the feeling. That's what the culture looks like. So organizations should go beyond just having policies on paper, okay, to building what? A safety culture. And what we discussed previously would really help that to work. In addition to this, culture will help to shape the perceptions. The word perception has to do with attitude of workers, dispositions of workers towards safety matters. If their perceptions are well, shaped, then workers will begin to adhere. Okay? So perceptions will determine common practices and shared what? Attitudes. Okay? And then you have a culture. Influences behavioral choice at work. When people know that if they do the wrong thing, they are definitely going to become victims of accidents, I don't think they would want to do that. Hello? Yes, I don't think they want to do that. All right, elements of a safety culture. You have base behavior systems, system has to do with mode of operations, or what you call mode of operandi. You have human factors, you have environment, and you have leadership. All of these must be parts of the safety culture. Why is culture important? There's an atmosphere that shapes our behavior is unwritten rules. Culture is not written. Culture is not a policy. Hello? Culture is a lifestyle. So if adults, because we're all adults who work in organizations, if they don't have a culture for doing a thing, then it's impossible to achieve that. Okay? They're going to achieve that. So employee buy-in really help us together. Invisible force that largely dictates the behavior of employees and what? And management. So integration is going to help us get it. It's good. All right. Steps to assessing your safety culture. 1, review documentations, programs, and policies from time to time. Do the review from time to time. And then number 2, communicate prior to what? To employee interaction. If I just go, let's get the details the next time. All right, that's the first one, review. Okay, that will lead to the following: documentation, programs, policies. You do review of all of this, and then that will give you an insight into work process. You have an insight into the work process, effectiveness of communication channels, and then safety committees and incident investigation process. You'll be able to know how effective this has been. Hello? Okay? If you do a review, let's go to the next. Step 2, employee interaction, whatever integration. The purpose of cultural assessment is not to find faults, but to what? Identify the opportunities to further proactively improve. Now, what the saying is that it is not about finding who has done what's wrong, it's about solving the problem. You understand it now? It's not trying to victimize someone, but it's about what? Solving. Now, this is going to be mostly to some officers. You don't act on a biased note. Try as much as you can to be neutral. Try as much as you can to solve the problem rather than talking about the problem. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're a human resource person, for instance, or a safety officer, for instance, and all you do is to take details of what has gone wrong, and then someday your opportunity to sit with the board or management, and then all you tell them is about what has gone wrong, and you couldn't tell them about the solution you're able to prefer, then you are not a good human resource manager. You are not a good officer. It means that you lack the skills to do your work. Step 3 says, conduct a location work. This is inspection. Go around the site, try to know what is in order, what is going according to the plan for the work, and what is not in place, and then you try to work to correct them. You understand? Understand behaviors of persons on site as well when you carry out inspection. All right, step 4 says leadership discussion. Okay, utilize a customized safety perception. Okay, utilize the customized safety perception, because your run-through will help you to be able to come up with a view. Hello? You understand? Of what is being, okay? Based on the results that is being produced, so that you could know what next to do. So you consider all of these that are written there. I'll go to the next one. Conduct group and individual interview. Group interview, individual interview. Why should you do this? You should be able to do this to be able to know people's concerns, to know people's challenges. If you don't do this, then you can't really tell. That's why for people who are in human resource per se, human resource actually runs what is called the individualism approach to management. Why? Because you need to know every individual's concerns so that you can handle it. Very important. All right. Then 7 says provide a report focusing on perceptions and capabilities of personnel, organizational readiness for rapid and sustainable safety improvement, discovery of inhibitors or facilitators of work of improvement. You get to find what are the challenges, what are the things that are stopping this thing from working, and what should we do about it. Okay? Then this talks about 3 steps to a real safety culture. This is more like a summary to that. Okay, first, assess your current culture. Know what is the lifestyle, the safety lifestyle in the organization. People are coming from different backgrounds. Okay, some people naturally have problems with precautions. Hello, some people are naturally reckless. If you do a study on personality traits. You understand what I'm talking about? Okay, so if you have such workers, you should be able to know them through proper assessment and then come up with what? With a solution to that. Okay? Alright? Education and training. I've talked so much about this. You understand what this means? Yeah. Workers need to be trained. Workers need to be trained. Okay? And then finally, program evaluation and improvement. So the first is management leadership. And what are they supposed to do? Management's commitment and setting of expectations and what? Responsibilities. Because you know that they said everything rises and falls on what? On leadership. So management has to set the pace, not the employees. Employees, yes, employees could suggest when they have the room to do that. But ultimately, management decides what happens in the organization. So the philosophy of management, that's the safety with the time, the safety excellence we can have in an organization, worker participation, workers' involvement, and reporting on safety and health words concerns. So this is now to workers. I know management has to give the room for that, but if the room is given, then workers should try and put as can the cooperate. Workers' participation is very important. Hazard identification and assessment. Procedures are put in place for identifying and assessing what? The risk, which means before any work or project commences, there is a need to carry out a proper what? Risk assessment. Try to know what are those things that could go what? Wrong. Okay? And who could be affected. Do you understand? And how can we remedy that? That means being proactive. When an organization allows this, what they're doing is simply they're being what? Proactive. Management is being proactive. Okay, then hazard prevention and control based on your identification and what? Assessment. Education and training, enabling workers to get to know about it and what to do. The program evaluation and what? And training, coordination and communication on multi-employer work sites. I think that is where I'm going to end.